My guest today is Ivan Ramirez. Ivan is Vice President of Sales at One Sotheby's International Realty. Ivan, thank you so much for joining us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for One Sotheby's?
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me on, and obviously looking forward to speaking a little bit and talking to all your audience. But yeah, I'm the Vice President of Sales for One Sotheby's in the development division, and been doing this for now 20 years, 21 years in the real estate industry. But in the last I would say actually closer to 6 years, I've had a little bit of a shift into the commercial office condo market. So it's exactly what we'll be talking about later, but residential mainly, luxury development product, but lately a lot of focus on the office condo sector.
And office is such a big topic of conversation, especially here in South Florida. We've been a hotbed for out-of-town relocation for corporations from New York and elsewhere. And everyone wants to try to get a handle of how this pandemic is going to impact the office market overall and down here. Is it going to blunt our momentum, for lack of a better phrase? So, Ivan, what's your take on how this pandemic is going to change the office sector going forward?
Well, it's actually very interesting. Yes, I think PR and articles, it's probably the easiest article to write and the easiest article to read is, oh my God, the office sector is going to suffer now. We all got used to working from home and we don't have to go back to the office. Well, it's actually the opposite. That probably was more the norm the first month or 2 months. And then after that, everybody's like, I can't wait to get back to the office. I'm dying to get back. I can't deal with the dogs, the kids, the homeschooling, mom cooking, the noise. I can't operate an actual business and work from home. There's just no way. So what's happening is there's a shift. What's happening is people are taking advantage of technology, doing virtual, obviously. The technology's always existed. It's just that now we learned how to use it and really incorporate it correctly. And obviously our corporations now understand that we can function from home. So that being said, we cannot be home all the time, but we now can do a bit more of a hybrid. And South Florida has really, really flourished in this new times because what is happening is all that Northeast, South American companies or people that were looking to before migrate to South Florida. Why? Because of the great weather, because of the taxes, because of the low density, because of how much of an important city we've become now with all the great infrastructure and everything. Now it's accelerated the thought of people, you know what, if this is ever going to happen again, I know I could work virtually. And I know I don't have to have a glitzy address in Manhattan, San Francisco, Boston, all these big cities. And I can enjoy the great weather, the taxes and everything in South Florida. So it has actually had a reverse effect and has really put the eyes globally of where can I now place my new workplace. And South Florida is benefiting from that.
And you're currently marketing a very interesting office project in downtown Miami, actually an office condominium project. So could you talk a little bit about that project? And, you know, there may be a viewer or two that might not be familiar with office condominiums. So it might be helpful to explain that concept.
So as you know, very few office buildings are built for sale. It's typically 95, 99% are built for rent, for lease. Developers usually keep them. It's a great product, great for them, money-wise and everything. So very few are for sale. So we've been very fortunate that I've been involved now with Creative HQ. It's a brand new Class A office condo located in the heart of downtown Miami. Now, what's even greater is that it's actually built and designed with today's office user in mind. And what is today's office user? Obviously, a little bit more of the younger generation, the millennial, that is a little bit more of the creative thinker, is no longer the typical office space with just a lobby and restrooms and maybe a gym and a bunch of cubicles where people just dig themselves in. They bring their briefcase, they are on with their tie, and they dig themselves in from 9 to 6. The creative thinker is more of a evoking with teamwork, getting creative with everything. And there's a lot more of social and wellness concept built into these buildings. Think of Google, Facebook. What are they building? They're building these complexes where they have not just a workplace, they have everything for the employee to then socialize, wellness, gyms, restaurants, pool tables, ping pong tables, basketball, for them to just get away from work and feel like they're part of the company with all these other components. So this one has 3 levels of 70,000 square feet of amenities: pools, saunas, gyms, boxing rings, spinning. I mean, it is just nonstop amenities in a building. It's designed with that whole creative thinker in mind. So it has a lot more, and again, this new pandemic has made us think of how we design these buildings. A lot more open areas, a lot more outdoor terraces, rooftops, sliding windows and sliding doors that allow a lot more flow, outdoor flow into the offices and into the recreation areas. So the design and the concept of this building, first of all, it's for sale, and second of all, it's designed with the new user in mind and today's world, which has made us think about how we use the office going forward.
It's advantageous to be not fully constructed yet or not out of the ground yet, because you have the ability to adapt to this unprecedented challenge and not have to retrofit an existing building.
You hit it right on the head, but I got to give credit to my developer. They actually were. It was already designed kind of like, not because they had this in mind, but the way they designed it was almost like perfect for today's new world. So yeah, the development group, which is a very well-known development group, Harvey Hernandez with New Guard Group, which has done amazing work in South Florida. The Galbert family office, which is Russell Galbert is one of the founders and big members of Crescent Heights, which is one of the largest developers in the world, in the country, and Keith Menon, which is also a huge in the food and beverage industry. So these 3 developers got together. It's East 6th Street Partners LLC as a development group, and put together this whole mixed-use product, which has residential, hotel, the office component, and all those amenities that I just mentioned. But the design almost fit. I mean, it's exactly fitted for today's new office user with everything I mentioned before.
And what's the website for anyone that wants to learn more?
So it's creativehqmiami.com. We also on social media at creativehqmiami.com. And yeah, you'll love it. It's pre-construction. We just launched sales. It's doing great, extremely well accepted, because people are seeing, you know what, when I go back to the office, I want to go back to today's new type of office use, not the antiquated offices that are probably not adapted and can't be retrofitted for today's office user.
Love the name too. Shifting gears before I let you go, like so many others, you've had to find creative ways to to not just educate yourself and adapt, but also educate the brokers at Sotheby's and really the entire brokerage community. So from what I understand, you've developed an educational series to work with brokers, especially residential brokers, who are now trying to figure out how to sell commercial real estate. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's so true, because the typical commercial broker community that, that are used to dealing with offices don't really get involved in pre-construction sales. So it's kind of like interesting. They're in the office sector, but they're used to leasing and doing all these big type of projects and leasing a whole building. They're not used to sales, and they don't typically have the database of the clients that are looking for the 500 square feet, 1,000 square feet, 1,500, 2,000. It's more the residential broker community. The residential broker community is used to selling beautiful views, Miami, lovely condos, the weather, and they don't really understand how to sell the commercial, which doesn't have a lot to do with views and some of the factors. And then there's terminologies, how the leases work, common area factors, what are the market rents, how to put together kind of like a projection, a cap rate. So what do we have to do? We're telling the broker community as guys, get on board now, because the same clients that are coming to South Florida because they're escaping all the reasons that I mentioned before, saying, hey, now I'm going to live in South Florida, but I also need to set up my workshop. I need to find a place where I need to set up shop. And they're going to ask you, find me a space. I need to pay about this much in rent. I need these type of qualities. And you need to know what you're talking about. So the educational series is exactly about that. Mr. Broker Residential Community. The clients are in your database. Come learn how to pitch it. Come learn how to sell it. We'll explain it to you. It's not as difficult as it sounds. And then you have another product to put into your database or in your portfolio to offer to your clients. And you could do that sale as well as the residential.
And is there a website or a way to contact you to learn more about that program?
Yeah, absolutely. Me personally, it's I for Ivan, I Ramirez at Ramirez at onesotheby'srealty.com. But also you could find us at creativehqmiami.com, info at creativehqmiami.com. You could also email us there. And we're going to have several webinars or educational series, Spanish and English, because we do have the South Americans that are coming in to invest and look for where to put their money in. And a lot of those Latin brokers would like to have this educational series in Spanish. So we have them both in Spanish and English.
Wonderful. Ivan, always a wealth of knowledge. We'll have to have you back soon. I should mention that you have a deep history in the residential side of things as well. So we'll have to talk about that down the line. There's a lot to cover there. So thank you so much for joining me today. We'll talk to you soon. And thank you all for tuning in. For other episodes of Kayla's Conversations, visit boardroompr.com. Thanks again and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Eric. Take care.